Hello and welcome back to the Rarpack. Today we're going to do some pretty cool exploring. Uh, First and foremost, we have some new construction going on over here. I've added on a little bit more to our kind of secondary floor here and cleaned up a little bit. And you'll also notice that we only have one chest down here instead of, I don't know,
Mm.
50 or 60 that we had before. That's because we have da, 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 the computer hooked up, and I have put all of our resources, save for a couple of tools that take up a lot of space, into our ME network. And 2 levels up is our ME controller, and this has a list of how much energy we're using and how much energy we have stored. The other side over here, I'm going to eventually place the pattern machine, the large multi-block structure that lets you automate processes. I have a door here. I might end up doing something a little bit different so that this door is a little bit more hidden, but this is supposed to be basically like a maintenance hatch. And you'll see we have our ME cable that goes down and into here, and we also have a hardened energy conduit that goes down to our lava floor, and I'll go explore that later. And one more floor up, we have our drive bays, and this is exhaustive doesn't quite do it. This is a lot more drive bays than I think I will ever need, considering the fact that each of these can store 63 types. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 10 in each. That's 630 types of items, and we have 20 of those. That puts us at what? 20 times 600 is 2,400? No, 1,200. 12,000. Yes. 12,000 different item IDs can be placed in here. Now, there's a chance we might eventually use that if we had every single item in the game, but we might not. And if we do end up running out of space, I can set up another chain over here that can give us another 12,000 slots. If we go up one more floor, we can see that we actually have our buildings set up here quite high. And from this little precipice, we can also see some of the stuff that I've been doing down here. We nearly have this whole chunk up to the right height. We have a little bit more to go here, but I mean, it doesn't look like much, but at the same time, it's going to take a lot of dirt to actually fill up that 2-row deep thing. But we've also almost finished up the first level of what's going to be our processing hub. This big tower here is going to be our power hub. This is going to be kind of like an entrance, a lobby, just something to connect everything, kind of like like a transportation house. This side here is going to be for all of our processing, and then the other side is going to be a mirror opposite of this that's going to have one for fabrication. And that guy's going to be dead. And I guess the next thing to look at, besides the fact that we have elevators, I don't know if I showed that in the last one or not. I did also notice, I don't know if anyone else did, these elevators, unless you reconfigure it in your config files, use experience to port you from place to place. And I found out that I could no longer use my elevators because I hadn't killed any mobs in a while. So I turned that off just because it seemed a little bit ridiculous considering how often we're going to be using elevators. This floor in here, I have creosote over here. I'll probably set something up on this side so that we have some generators that run off the creosote. I believe it's a semi-fluid generator that runs off creosote and produces some EU. It's not much, but it's a nice little addition since there's really nothing else that I can use the creosote for. I'm probably not going to end up getting into using too many of the things that it's used for in Railcraft. The other 2 sides over here, though, I want to build a large steam turbine, which is a GregTech device that uses lots of steam, but is also a pretty cool way to generate power. I set up another set of 14 crucibles over here. We have one more to go, and then that will actually be everything for our lava level. We're also going to set up another pile of these when I have a little bit more resources. We're actually running a little low on resources right now, but I'm working on that. And we have our MFSU still set up as it was before. But yes, all of these magmatic dynamos over here are producing energy and throwing it into this hardened energy cell that can store 2 million RF. And then that is going up into our ME network so that it has power and we can access all of our items and run everything. Now, eventually I am going to need more power, but luckily I already have a plan to take care of that. This level up here is going to be for biofuels. I'm going to take this out. I also placed some windows in here. They're chisel glass that was changed to have a stone edge, which kind of meshes nicely with the stone that we have here, just so that we can see outside and stuff, and give us a little bit of a better view of things. But yes, this is the second level up from the ground, or first level up from the ground floor, and this is going to be where we have our biodiesel generators, like methane generators, things like that are basically like biofuels. The next level up is going to be where we have our magic energy fuels. In here I'm going to have things like the ender generator from Extra Utilities. Where is it here? Ender generator, this guy right here. I actually have one of these, but I'm going to build some more because we actually have a ton of ender pearls available to us because of all the ender essence that I have. So I'm going to have that up here. I'm also going to have a couple of other GregTech devices like the Dragon Egg Energy Siphon and some magic energy absorbers and converters. And then I also decided that since we have a lot of space up here on this little platform, when I jump you can see it, that we're not really using, I'm going to use that to place a couple of farms like the ones that we have down here. Only I'm going to make them a little bit bigger so that they basically span the whole length of everything, and use that to produce some things that we really need, like coal, glowstone, ender pearls, and then once I have all of those being produced up there, I can use these 3 little fields that I have down here to produce some other things like some resources that we need, and less common things like some of the different creature or mob essences that we have and stuff like that. I was also working on we have some glass in here. I did want to make everything that I need for a new planter, and oh, that's the other thing I didn't do. I need to have the clay done. The other thing that I wanted to do is throw some of our rubber wood that we got from all the trees that I cut down while I was doing all of our landscaping. I need cells in order to do this, and it actually makes carbon cells, and I don't have to deal with that guy. It makes carbon cells and methane cells every time you use 16 of them, but it doesn't give us as much sticky resin, and that's actually what I'm after right now. So I'm going to go ahead and throw those guys in there. And at some point, what I'm going to do too is, boy, there's just a lot of mobs out there, aren't there? No. I see you. Alright, let's get the creeper, then I'll keep talking. There we go. Oh, the other thing that I have, which is, a little bit useless, but kind of cool, I have a rancher with a pair of steel shears in it. It doesn't use up the shears, but it uses energy, which I'm almost out of, to shear the sheep automatically. So now I have all the wool I'll ever need. So if I need it for anything, problem solved. So yeah, we're going to build a planter and a harvester, but in order to do that, I need a lot of rubber pulp. and I'm making a lot of it right here, but that's going to take a little bit of time to do, so I probably won't end up doing this episode. But yeah, the biggest thing right now is that we do have the ME network set up, which makes accessing everything a lot easier. And once I make it so that we can start automating some processes, and we actually get our ME network line, which is this guy right here, driven all the way down to our processing area and our fabrication area, then we can start automating all kinds of processes, and then we'll be one step closer to doing things like building our fusion reactor. On the topic of our processing area and our fabrication area, though, I actually went through and looked at all the GregTech machines, at least. I'm going to look at the machines for other mods as well. GregTech definitely has the most exhaustive list of machines. We'll stand a little farther away from the extractor so that you can still hear me. But all of these machines are either going to go into one of those two slots because they all do some kind of process to make us a finished product. But the processing area, which is that first area that we have set up, is going to have all of our grinders, all of our furnaces, the recycler, the centrifuges, the electrolyzers, the alloy smelters, the sawmill, and the chemical reactor. The fabrication area, which is if you go down this way and make a right, that area that's going to exist over there, that is going to house our assembly tables and our assembly machines, the vacuum freezer, the mass fabricator, the wire mill, the plate cutting machine, the plate bending machine, the lathe, the implosion compressor, the canning machine, and the distillation tower. That basically concludes all of the machines in GregTech, and we actually have almost all of them. There are a couple somewhat more expensive things that we still need to get to, but most of them are already done. And if you take a look at how much we actually have right here, that is a ton of resources into all of this stuff, but it's all done. What's going to happen afterwards is we'll set up some areas down below here, like, for example, this one actually isn't finished. It needs to go down one more level still. For example, we have this level down here that's going to be our fossil fuel level. This is our lava generator level. The next level down is nuclear fission material prep, and that's going to be where we basically have uranium ore coming in, being refined, turned into uranium fuel, being put into cells so that it is actually a fuel rod, and then it being turned into either dual or quad cells and put into a reactor. The level below that is going to be nuclear fusion prep, and that's where we need the stuff for the fusion reactor, and that's going to consist of a ton of, let me just go ahead and mute that real quick. The nuclear fusion level is going to have a set of electrolyzers and a set of centrifuges that are going to produce for us deuterium and helium-3. The level below that is going to be our nuclear fission reactor. That's going to be a 4-core reactor, so there'll be one core in every corner of the, well, not necessarily every corner, but every quarter of the tower. And each of those is going to be a double reactor core. And what that means is the center piece of a nuclear reactor, in case you haven't seen one from Industrial Craft, looks like this. And this is all you really need in order to use a nuclear reactor. Now, you can put a reactor chamber on every one of the 6 sides of the cube. Each of those gives you another line of places to actually set more items into it, like heat vents, more fuel cells, things like that. We're going to have 2 of these in every corner, so 8 total nuclear reactors. Each of those nuclear reactors, if set up with a Mark I, can actually run at about, I think, between 300 and 500 EU per tick safely. Now, any more than that, the heat ends up getting too much. Eventually, they will melt down and explode. But that means that we'll have about 8,000 EU coming out of that level. The level below that is going to be our fusion reactor. And the fusion reactor is going to be producing energy on terms of about 32,000 EU per tick, I think, at the very bare minimum, but more than likely it will be a lot more than that. And in order to deal with that increasingly undealable level of energy, we're going to be setting up several mass fabricators, and we're also going to be setting up several of these. And what these things will do is take iron ingots and turn them into iridium ore. That iridium ore that we have can be used to make more nuclear fusion, more nuclear fusion reactors, and also ultimate solar panels. Last time we did talk about being able to make the pieces for the solar panels. I actually have the sunradium part here finished, and I have a solar panel. The next level of this requires some fairly expensive pieces, the most expensive of which is this irradiant reinforced plate. This requires the sunradium part, which we have, some redstone, lapis lazuli, a diamond, and then this reinforced iridium iron plate. The iridium iron plate is basically the same thing as an advanced machine block, only instead of a machine block inside, it's an iridium iron plate, and that is just an iridium ingot surrounded by refined iron, or in our case, I think simple iron will do the trick. Yeah, because if you click on refined iron is what comes out. So that'll be easy enough to get to. But I've been doing a lot of building, but very little mining and exploring. And unfortunately, that is still part of the game. And I guess to a point, fortunately, because I do really like doing that. But you'll notice we have a ton of resources in here. I also made ruby essence, because we're going to need a lot of chrome, and that is the easiest way to get it. Titanium is still going to be a bit of an issue as far as how we can acquire it, but I'm working on that. We also have lots of silver, lots of iron, we have lots of nether essence, which I got because it can make us nether quartz, which we're going to need a lot of in order to build everything for the ME network. And we actually have a lot of glowstone coming in because I've been needing to build a lot of these lamps. But I actually think I may have found a way to use something a little bit more efficient in terms of how much glowstone we use to produce light. I need to practice it out a little bit more, make sure that it's actually going to do the job. But yeah, we have lots of resources coming in here, but still lots that we're not producing. And one of the reasons why I want to make the extra fields is so that we have more room to actually, automatically produce the stuff. I'd say the most important thing that we're going to end up getting to, though, is this and this. This laser drill here can produce any ore in the ore dictionary when supplied with redstone flux. It needs at least one, but a maximum of 4 laser drill prechargers in order to run, but we need some interesting materials for it, and we also need a very good source of redstone flux. So we're going to look into doing that too, because that will actually give us an opportunity to infinitely create as many resources as we want. So these two things are going to be running down here. We're going to have a fiber optic line for EU going down here too, and then those will be spreading out to both of these directions so that we have all the resources, or all the energy going down there and all the resources going back and forth through here so that our processing and our fabrication levels are doing what they need to be doing. After that's all done, it'll be time to build the city, and then this will be ready for a server, basically, which is what the ultimate goal is, to set it up on a server and let people join and use it and have fun with it. So we should have quite a bit over here. Oh yeah, we're almost done. That being said, though, I think we're probably about out of time. I don't know how long this is right now, but it's probably getting there. I need to start setting a timer, I think, so that I keep a little better track of things. But next episode, I'm going to try to clean up all these guys, figure out a place to put them, and hopefully have enough stuff done down below that all of these pieces can be removed and put down into one of those 2 areas. Right now, my biggest issue is the fact that I need a lot of coal essence to actually build the things that we want to build down there. Because otherwise, I can't make this look, and I really like how it looks. It's just I don't have enough coal essence, so that's one thing I'm going to try to set up on those platforms so that I actually have a lot more coal essence coming in. And then once I have that, it'll be a lot easier to go through and actually build lots of materials at once. So that'll be what we end up doing next time, and then we'll end up moving everything around. We'll hopefully be in a position to start automating a lot of processes. Then after we're done with that, it'll be all about producing all of the generators that we need for EU and redstone flux. So this has been the Rarpack. Thanks everyone for watching, and if anyone has any good ideas on what to do with our various tools, let me know, because there are still some times when I actually need these instead of automating the processes with the soldering iron, the files and things like that. But I don't like the idea of every single one of these taking up a spot in our ME network, because it takes up one of the types, and that is honestly the more important of the two things that we have. So if anyone has an idea of how to deal with that, if there's a mod that we can think of that would give us a place to store all of those, let me know. I was looking into actually setting up Bibliocraft so that we had a place to put books and stuff as well. That way we can actually build an actual library. But yeah, those are all things that I have to look at. And if anyone has any insight, or if anyone can think of anything else cool that might be neat to have in the mod pack, let me know. Bye.